World of Warcraft Season of Discovery hype is going strong. But is Blizzard's version of Classic Plus the one we really wanted? Or is this the retail minus that they think we need? My name's Squidlegs, and we're going to do a dive here on the latest version of Classic WoW. The pros, the cons, the speculations, and maybe a hopeful hit of copium. I'm glad Blizzard are trying something new. Season of Mastery wasn't really popular, and I honestly don't even remember the changes. Were there any changes? Hashtag no changes. Season of Discovery, however, hashtag all the changes. Every single one of them stolen from private servers. Besides that point, I'm glad Blizzard is experimenting. Truly, it shows that they recognize that a large population of Classic WoW players, or even players that don't play WoW anymore but did play Classic WoW, are looking for something new, a fresh experience. From an anecdotal perspective, I have had so many people, I say so many, I mean 6 people reach out to me who haven't played WoW in years, who are like, hey dude, Season of Discovery's back. And I saw this meme on Twitter. It was like the season of dads. Yeah, they're coming back, guys. The dad bods are ready. November, whatever it is, 30th. Look, all these dads are going to be stuffed up from Thanksgiving, and they're going to be coming in for a hot and sweaty turkey basting grind session. That's kind of the market that Blizzard needs to tap into, I think, is the WoW players that aren't here anymore. Because let's be honest, a lot of people have tried WoW. Some people lack executive functioning, and, well, keep playing it. Put the first pro on the list, experimentation. I think Blizzard recognizes a couple things. I think they recognize that Classic WoW not only has like a demographic that's still interested with hardcore being popularized, so more people are watching hardcore than playing it, considerable amount more, and retail kind of being over bloated. It's kind of interesting that they're sensing that there's a medium somewhere between those two things. It makes me think that they're trying to subtract things out of retail that are overdone or over bloated and add things to Classic Plus to find this little healthy, happy medium where we go, that's World of Warcraft. And I think that this first phase, and not only first phase, but Season of Discovery itself, is Classic Plus beta. Basically a live playtest of whatever ideas the Classic WoW development team is cooking up. Going into another pro, I think, on the list is adding more tanks. This might be controversial because it's not really Classic WoW, you know, you can't have a pally tank, but now we can. I mean, you can have a pally tank, but do you want one? No. I mean, Warriors were really the only tank in Classic WoW. But now, Season of Discovery, we're definitely getting Prop Paladin. It's a no-brainer. Really, the biggest thing that they were missing out on in Classic WoW itself was a taunt, which now they have Hand of Reckoning. But outside of Prop Paladin, we're also getting Metamorphosis Warlock, Swashbuckler sort of parry Rogue, and then a Shaman tank. Now, I'll get into Rogue and Warlock tanks here in a second, but something I do think is healthy for the game is balancing the factions. Prop Paladin was closer to a tank than Shaman was. The Enhancement Shaman tree could be redone in a way where, similar to Feral Druid, share a lot of the same talents, which is good for a couple things. Make some good off tanks, because then they can just switch into Cat and do decent damage. And I think a similar thing could be done for Enhancement Shaman. And why I think this is probably the most important tank to get right is I do think the factions should mirror each other in a way where there can be the similar number of tanks, well, classes that can be tanks on each faction. The problem is there's been a ton of expansions where we've already fleshed out Prop Paladin and what's cool, like Avenger Shield. There's gonna need to be a lot more of that on the Shaman side. Lore-wise, I think there's a ton of stuff that can be taken from. As for Warlock and Rogue, though, I don't know if this is a good idea. On one hand, I think it's healthier for the game to have more options to play the role that nobody wants to play. It's gonna reduce a tank shortage, which I think is good for the game. I'm not really sure. I'm interested to see how this one plays out. A really fast attacking boss, maybe like the Tiger in ZG. Maybe it'll be good for Rogue to parry a lot. Stuff like that could be interesting. I think there's going to need to be a lot of itemization added to the game for these to work. Because how are you going to defense cap on a Clothy? A Warlock is going to get crushed. Literally crushed. First of all, I think Warlock tank is going to be broken. Warlocks are already the most OP class in Classic WoW. They can now tank. They're going to be a menace in Warsong Gulch. As somebody who is probably going to be playing Mage, I'm going to be furious at these Warlocks. For the Rogue tanking, I do like the theme and lore of like the parry Swashbuckler tank. I think there's a lot of WoW lore that could be fleshed out from a character perspective. From an RP perspective, and a lore perspective, and a badass perspective, I think this is a good move. From a gameplay perspective, I'm not sure. Next up is the Rune Engraving system for Season of Discovery. There's a ton of runes, 108 to be exact, 12 for each class, 9 classes, math. I think I did that right. Did I do that right? Hold on, calculator. 12 times 9. Fuck yeah. Public education. So 108 new rune engravings you can put on your gloves, chest, or leg, giving you 3 for each class. Let's be real. There's really only 3 archetypes to pick from. Like for Warlock, for instance, if you want to tank, you're going to be taking meta because you need a rune to tank. Then you're going to be taking what? Demonic Grace here for dodge. And then what? Master Channeler for drain life, so you don't have to channel it. It's just going to be on and you're going to get healed back. There's not much choice right now. And I think that's okay for the level 25 phase. Because let's be real, at level 25 and WoW, there's really not much choice. Your talents are like You have like 8 of them, so you just pick those. It's going to be interesting to see how these add on, if we're going to get more runes in different slots, or if we're just sticking to the 3 runes max. Because these are kind of big game-changing runes. Going deeper into the 108 runes, guys, we have 108 runes, which sounds like a lot, and it's like, oh, 12 options for each class to really customize your hero. Yeah, kind of, but there's really only a couple different archetypes. It's like, hey, look, we got BM Hunter now. Extra buttons to hit for BM Hunter. You can go Lone Wolf or you can go Melee. Out of the 108 runes in Season of Discovery, take a guess, guys. Take a moment here with your thoughts and go, how many of these are unique ideas for Classic? And not just, you know, the good ideas we pulled from other later versions of WoW. How many do you think? Is it 80? What? That sounds like a lot. 75% of the new runes already exist. That's the number. I did the math. Either these were talents like Slaughter of the Shadows, or they were Mutilate, to stick to the rogue examples. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Mutilate's cool. Warbringer's badass. I like Living Bomb, but does it need to be in Classic WoW? These things are good for the game to some extent. Paladins needed Crusader Strike. Do they need Divine Storm as well? I don't know. I think my point is with the runes, I think it's a good idea to be stealing from retail for certain things. We just really have to be pumping the brakes, because I do not want Classic to feel like retail. But as much as they're stealing from other versions of WoW, they're coming up with new ideas like Gladiator Stance. That sounds badass. To be a full-on Spartan warrior playing aggro shield, that opens up other options for itemization for offensive shields, possible shield enchants opposed to Iron Spike, maybe something more aggressive. And on that note, I really do think Blizzard should be experimenting with professions in Season of Discovery. They've already shown they're going to be doing it a little bit with the new recipes for the epics around the level 25. I think there's a breastplate for male users. There's cloth boots, and I think the gloves or belt. There's new mana oil that's gonna be specific to the raid and can only use in Black Fathom depths, and then also a sharpening stone that's going to really bridge the gap on that hit percent. Kind of a band-aid solution, but I think adding on to professions is a good thing. I think it creates a healthy game economy, a healthy player dynamic as well. I think it should go deeper with professions. Try out new things. They should steal from Turtle WoW, where that has the goblin like memory wipe thing that resets your talent points. Dual spec would work, but a profession solution I think is a good alternative, though engineering's already like kind of broken in Classic WoW for PvP, so maybe not an engineering thing, maybe an alchemy memory wipe elixir. Oh, another thing from Turtle WoW, maybe an engineering battery that recharges items with charge on it to help those druids farming those crowd pummelers. I think they should expand on classic ideas for gathering too, like Finkel Skinner and the skinning enchanted gloves, like having to get extra things to skin rare creatures like the beasts and corehounds. I think it's awesome. The same should be done for mining and herbalism. Maybe you take your mining pick and you dunk it in Ragnaros's fire to forge it, and then you have to take it to Blackrock Depths and talk to some dwarves who then hammer it into the anvil and then create this badass mining pick that makes you, I don't know, farm bindings off of Gar. That sounds OP. But, you know, I'm just spitballing here. I'm just making up things on the spot. I don't know if this is gonna make the video. I'm just making shit up. Okay. Maybe I'll leave it. I think professions are a huge area for Classic Plus and Season of Discovery to really expand on. Now, let's talk about the new raid, Black Fathom Depths. Now, they chose this, I think, intentionally because nobody likes it. I said it. Honestly, skippable dungeon. But in Season of Discovery, we're calling it SOD yet? Do we call it SOD yet? I'm not sure. We're gonna be running it a lot. Weekly or every few days. I'm not sure what the reset on it's gonna be. It will be the end game for Phase 1. Blizzard redoing BFD tells me a couple things. One, that they're willing to completely redo entire dungeons. Two, that they're able to not only scale them differently, but that they're willing to make 5-mans, 10-mans. Maybe they make a 10-man, a 40-man. Now, here's what I'm thinking. Each phase is going to get its own raid. We're going to get a 10-man at level 25. Maybe we get a 15 or a 10-man at 40. And hopefully, I mean, looking at the dungeons and thinking about it, it's got to be a Scarlet raid, right? It has to be. What else is going to be? Razorfen Downs? Who cares? Phase 3 I'm excited for because there's a couple options I think they could do. Maradon would be a badass raid. Zul'Farrak also would be cool. And then I think, just remember there's another one there. My least favorite dungeon of all time. This is probably what they're going to do. They're going to take the things that I hate and make them things that I have to do. BFD. And in Phase 3, it's going to be Uldaman. Holy shit. I'd rather them rescale Sunken Temple or something. Sunken Temple would actually be a good idea. In level 60, I don't even know what's going to happen there. I think there's going to be 40-man raids. Obviously, the Elite Karazhan. So I think with each phase, not only are we getting a new raid or dungeon that's coming with it, but we're also getting a world event. And for the first one, it seems to be linked up with BFD, but also level 25, there's a Battleground Warsong Gulch about the Battle of Ashenvale. At level 40, where are we at? A world event in STV would be madness. I know where it's going to be. Arathi Highlands. I see what you're doing, Blizzard. Taking the battlegrounds. And you're building world destruction around them. So level 40 when we're fighting in Arathi Highlands, and then we're running our sweet little selves up to the Scarlet Raid. Oh, phase 2 is going to be glorious. Unless it's Ultimate. That brings me to another point here. I think it's smart of Blizzard to release Season of Discovery in these phases. One, it gives them development time to kind of push out the first phase and they go, okay, we can work on the Scarlet Raid, please. Then we can work on some of these other things, new runes, new items down the line. That way we can just feed it in incrementally. Also, I think there's a psychological aspect to it where it's like, hey, this isn't done yet, which is, I think, is key for keeping the players retained. Phase 1's gonna hit, everyone's gonna level up to 25. We're gonna do the raid. They're gonna start gearing, get bis, whatever, get level 25 bis, and start PvPing, and then maybe level a second class. There's gonna be a couple weeks where, look, not much to do. But right when that downtime starts coming, boom, phase 2, new runes. Oh my God, the world event in Arathi Highlands, the Scarlet Raid. And then we're right back to where we are right now going, oh, dude, I can't wait for phase 2, man. Oh, phase 2 is gonna save WoW. It's really smart for retention and interest, but also it's gonna give them a lot of time to develop the later phases. Hopefully it allows them to experiment with the zone world events. There's a really fine balance that the classic team is gonna have to do with Season of Discovery in order for it to feel like Classic Plus and not Retail Minus. And in order for them to do that, I think Blizzard needs to be really careful about pulling things from future expansions and instead focus on the building blocks of true Classic and just expanding on them. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I will be out in Season of Discovery like many of you. I haven't decided what I'm going to play yet, but comment down below with what class you're excited for in Season of Discovery. Peace out, and as always, love you.